Hi, I'm Debra Meiburg, and I'm with Diana di Lenzi from Fattoria di Petroio. Petroio means stone?
Yes.
Okay.
It comes from Latin petrus, the place of the rocks. And we have an incredibly rocky and beautiful mineral soil, which I think is, till the day I have to plant a vineyard, my greatest blessing in Petroio, because it really helps lift the sangiovese out of its own stubbornness and characteristics and that big intensity that sometimes sangiovese has. But that beautiful minerality that comes from those stones, from those rocks, really blends into the wine and gives it that pretty acidity, that very light mineral touch that makes the wine so easy to drink and palatable and pleasant.
So you have that wonderful stony soil, and then you're in the sort of southwest corner of Chianti Classico, so you're also a little bit cooler.
Yes, we're about 15 kilometers out of Sienna, so the very southern and western border of the Chianti Classico region. And Castelnuovo Belardenga has this very beautiful and unique terroir. Actually, a few studies have then rediscovered there are actually 3 different micro sub climates and sub terroirs in Castelnuovo Belardenga, but that's one of the very beautiful things that producers are starting to understand in our own district is that every single comune, Gaiole, Radda, Castelnuovo, they each one have a very distinct characteristic.
Do you think that there will be some serious mapping out? Barolo did this quite successfully.
Yes, definitely.
Do you think that's the future for Chianti Classico?
Well, already Alessandro Masnaghetti, who did the map for Barolo, has already actually done one for Chianti Classico, and there is a lot of discussing inside of the consortium on the possibility of actually doing sub-appellations in Chianti Classico, especially for the Gran Selezione. The consortio in the past few years and the producers in the past few years have decided to kind of give the public an even more unique and more special product above Riserva, a more refined one, which is now the Gran Selezione. And the Gran Selezione will probably be something that people will be also describing by district appellations.
Well, you come to this with a little bit of a different angle because you were and are still actually a chef.
Yes.
So
I always like to say it's a nicer version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the chef and the winemaker, and but it's actually a very...
Sounds like the name of a TV show, the chef and the winemaker.
But there's also a very specific way of dealing with both these professions in kind of the same way. I like to think that I make wine exactly in the same way I have always cooked. You have a very good beginning ingredient that you need to know very well, that you need to respect, and then you kind of put in your hands your art, your creativity, and transforming it into something that can only give people a final emotion if it brings them back to that first initial ingredient. And that is why all my wines, the true protagonist is always sangiovese, and it has to be the varietal that speaks first. Everything that is added onto the sangiovese is a complementary. It's nothing that needs to cover the sangiovese. It's something that needs to, if possible, exalt it. And that is exactly the same way I have always cooked. So.
Well, I look forward to trying the wines, so that sensitivity sounds really interesting.
Yes, we've also always decided to use traditional varietals to blend with the sangiovese because I've always felt that they were the right ones because they were grown specifically there. And so there was a history in why those varietals were being added on to the sangiovese to create a complete wine. Which is
a complete dish.
Yes.
I really look forward to trying the wines later today.
I hope you will enjoy them.
We'll be excited to try the new vineyard when it comes to
2020.
Great, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you. Such a pleasure.